What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, January 24th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 4-game slate tonight. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is a pretty rough slate. A lot of the players are overpriced, and it's quite hard to find some decent value on this slate, so I did the best I could. So let's take a look at this 4-game slate here. At the point guard position, really not much at the point guard position. You could go with Chris Paul, who's been playing pretty well, scored 55, 51, and 46 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He's priced up to $8,600 DraftKings salary and $1,700 more on FanDuel. You could go with RJ Barrett, but he's on a back-to-back and he's only averaging 30.1 fantasy points per game on the season, but he did score 59 fantasy points last game, but he played 42 minutes yesterday. So I'm kind of leaning away from RJ Barrett. Like I said, this point guard position is kind of tough. A lot of the positions are kind of tough today. So that's why I'm just going to pay up for Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns playing the Utah Jazz, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing point guards. Devin Booker has averaged 40.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. Now, he's played 38 minutes the past 2 games, so I'm hoping he plays around 38 minutes. And if he does, I think he can get 48 fantasy points or more in this one, get you around 5 times value. He's $9,400 DraftKings salary, $200 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223 points scored in this game, and Devin Booker has scored 31, 43, and 72 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 38, and 34 minutes. So that's why I think I'm just going to pay up for Devin Booker. He's got the most upside at the point guard position. This guy can go off and get you 70 plus fantasy points anytime he takes the court. And let's take a look. He scored 38, 44, and 39 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Jazz. So that's a pretty good player versus team history here. Although he is going to need like 45 fantasy points or more here tonight to get close to value. But I like Devin Booker here versus the Utah Jazz. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Okay, so here's a value play for you. Looks like a good value play on DraftKings. Looks like he's priced up on FanDuel. But I like Jeremy Lamb from the Indiana Pacers playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, also eligible at small forward. And Jeremy Lamb has averaged 14.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 15 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. But he's playing more minutes the past 3 games. He played 28 minutes last game and scored 30 fantasy points. So I like to see that his minutes are trending up. So he should have more opportunity to hit value here. And he's projected at 18.6 fantasy points, but I think he can score 20 fantasy points or more here and get you 5 times value or more. He's only $4,000 DraftKings salary. Now he has $1,700 more on FanDuel so I prefer that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 214.5 points scored in this game. He's got a pretty good track record versus the Pelicans. Only scored 12 fantasy points last game, but the 3 games before that, he scored 38, 41, and 28 fantasy points versus the Pelicans. So in a slate that is difficult to find value, I like Jeremy Lamb here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, just real quick, a couple of other potential value plays. There's a guy like Isaac Okoro, or even potentially Emmanuel Quickly. I think I'd prefer Isaac Okoro here at only 3,800 DraftKings salary, and he's only 200 more on FanDuel. And I like this because although he hasn't been scoring a ton of fantasy points, he scored 21, 12, and 21 fantasy points in the last 3 games, but he played 35, 29, and 32 minutes. So he's only 3,800 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. So if you want to get a low salary player who's going to be on the court and have the potential of a high scoring game, I like Isaac Okoro here versus the New York Knicks. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Here is another value play, and this one, again, it's not my favorite. It's just really reaching for value plays on this slate, but I think he does have some potential in this matchup. So take a look at Kenrich Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Chicago Bulls, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Kenrich Williams has averaged 17.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 17.2 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 20 fantasy points or more in this matchup, get you 5 times value or more. He's 3,800 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. He scored 21 and 20 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 24 and 16 minutes, and he scored 29 and 28 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Bulls. So I like this matchup, and if he can get 20 to 25 minutes here, I think he can hit value. So I like Kenrich Williams here versus the Chicago Bulls. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. Oh no, Kenrich Williams was my power forward. So let's go back to the small forward position, and who did I miss here? Let's see. Oh, there he is. At the small forward position, I like Justin Holiday from the Indiana Pacers playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Justin Holiday has averaged 20.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. Now, I'll admit that season average of 20 fantasy points in 29 minutes, average on the season, does not look pretty, but in his last 3 games, he scored 25, 27, and 24 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 27, 34, and 27 minutes. Now, he's 5,400 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel, so he would need about 27 fantasy points to get you 5 times value. So if he's going to play 27 to 34 minutes, I think he's got a pretty good chance of getting there. And I like this pick because in his last 3 games versus the Pelicans, he scored 22, 43, and 29 fantasy points. So if you are kind of stuck and you need a mid-range player that's got some upside, take a look at Justin Holiday here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, so moving on to the center position, I like Jonas Valanciunas from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the Indiana Pacers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Jonas Valanciunas has averaged 40.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 40.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's $8,300 DraftKings salary. He's $800 less on FanDuel, so I love that FanDuel price. And Jonas Valanciunas has scored 40, 47, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 33, and 30 minutes. But he has scored 41, 70, and 36 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Pacers. So I like Jonas Valanciunas here versus the Indiana Pacers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.